Hello and welcome to the second episode of Now Educated. Over the last couple of months, or specifically around July time, if you're in Zimbabwe or if you keep track of what happens in Zimbabwe, you would have known that our government made an announcement that it would be issuing out gold coins to help people restore value or keep value in their investments. Interesting announcement. And then in July, because of some of the businesses I'm involved in, we started getting what they call exchange control directives to help explain how, as dealers or as people involved in the financial services, how we would serve or what the gold coin would entail. So they gave it the name Mosi-Oa-Tunya, which is, if you've been to Zimbabwe, you'll know of big falls. And it's a legendary snake, I believe, that was found by the falls. So it's got a bit of historic significance in the name and speaks to one of our greatest tourist attractions, which is the Victoria Falls and the stories that surround that really wonderful place. But I digress. That's not what people wanted to know. So my community started reaching out to me and they were asking, what is it with these gold coins? Is this an investment I need to get into? Should I jump on this? And this is me responding a whole month later after giving it some thought and a couple of attempts to record it, but few challenges here and there kept me from putting this out there. But I'm glad it's happening now, and I've got a couple of insights that we want to share, and I hope you can give me a couple of minutes of your time. Promise this would be worth it. So let's go. So to really answer this question on, are gold coins a good investment for if you're Zimbabwean or for a foreigner, I believe we need to go back and understand what is it about gold that makes it such a popular metal. And it's not just a popular metal in Zimbabwe, it's a popular metal world over. India, you name it. All these places, there seems to be a soft spot for gold. So let's go back in time and understand what made gold the subject of what became the gold standard, a representation for money, representation of safety. Let's go back there and understand. And if we understand the characteristics and some of the aspects of our gold, hopefully that can help us explain why we are where we are. Now, you find if you go back in history, there's an ancient pre-Christian technology called meteorology, which was the melting and smelting and shaping of metals into coins. Interesting enough, gold became the most popular mineral when they were creating coins. Now, what is it about gold that makes it such a favorite? Let's talk about it. The first thing is you find that gold is almost virtually indestructible. You cannot destroy it, which is always a good thing, right? You can't synthesize it, which means you can't mix two chemicals and have a chemical reaction that produces gold. So to get gold, you have to go underground. That's the only place you're going to find gold. And even when we have changes in technology and advances in technology, even if your technology is on point, you're still going to need to go deeper if you want to get some more. So that makes the supply of gold grow slowly and predictably. Now, let's back up a bit and just put it down in simple terms. So gold, one, is virtually indestructible. Secondly, you can't mix chemicals to produce it, so it can't be synthesized. Thirdly, the underground is the only place you're going to find it. And fourthly, if you want more gold, you have to go deeper into the ground to get it. Right. So all these let us know that gold, or the supply of gold, will grow slowly and steadily. Now, when you combine these attributes, these characteristics of this interesting metal, you find that it makes gold a very effective store of value. It's a very effective store of value. It means that it can be sellable. You can sell it over time and know that you're not going to lose significant amounts of value because of that. And this is really why people ended up choosing gold as their metal. This is where the gold standard came from, because people looked at it and said, gold, with all these characteristics, this is the fair representation of value. And this is what made gold one of the most marketable metals of our time. Now, with that being said, that means gold, in essence, is money. If, for lack of a better word, it is money, and money that retains its value. So, for most people, when they will swear by gold, and what can we learn about in present day about why gold plays such a key role? Is because for most people, gold has become the standard safety investment when they are expecting or they're experiencing economic chaos. So gold has now been viewed by many people as a perfect hedge in times of economic chaos. So what are people expecting to happen during those times? Whenever gold becomes increasingly popular, there are three motives or three drivers that are causing people to move or to gravitate towards more gold. Firstly, more often than not, this is what I've learned, is that there's a suspicion or expectation that the economy is going to fall apart. So, in times when there are recessions, people will want to move out of money to a degree because they're not trusting that the economy is going to be able to keep their investments safe. Secondly, it's when inflation is rising. So world over now, we're seeing inflation hit double-digit figures in America, which is terrible for them. As usual, Zimbabwe, we are tops on inflation. We are at the 3-digit level. Official estimates, I think, are playing around 285%. Not sure that's the official estimates. I don't know if those are the real numbers. But we have the worst inflation in the world right now. So whenever inflation is high, and just for those of you who are not familiar with what inflation is, it's when the buying power of your money continues to get diminished. If you could buy 10 things last month, if inflation increases, that means you move down from being able to buy 10 things to maybe 6 or 7 things, and so inflation diminishes or reduces the purchasing power or the amount of things you can buy with your money. So that means if you are earning a salary, that means your salary can do less and less for you if inflation is going up. So very often people, when they believe that inflation is high or is going to continue increasing, they want to move into something that's going to protect their purchasing power, that's going to allow them to be able to buy the same things they wanted to buy. So that's where gold usually comes in, because with gold, it is a hedge. It's seen as a hedge. It moves in the opposite direction. So what you know is that if you buy gold and then eventually sell it, if you could buy a jacket, if you could buy 10 items before, you're probably going to still be able to buy the 10 items even in times of high inflation, because gold just acts as a hedge for that. Thirdly, and this sometimes happens with nations such as ours, like Zimbabwe, where we've had a couple of currency collapses. So this is where the currency becomes almost totally useless, and we either have to create a new one or adopt another nation's currency. And you get the feeling that that's where a lot of people are in this country, that they feel that the bond note or the Zimbabwean dollar, the RTGS, whatever we're calling it now, is not a stable currency. So people are running away from that and believe that gold could be an effective refuge for them, so that their investments do not lose value if they remain in a local currency. All right, so I hope I've thrown in some stuff for you to think about around why gold and from its characteristics, and what is the psychology that goes behind people and wanting to buy gold. So I guess that's when the Zimbabwean government is, in essence, is admitting that they have not performed too great and have created a situation where people have lost value from their investments a couple of times, and therefore they're creating this as a way of providing people a better escape. Now, that's the Zimbabwean situation. Is gold a good investment? That's the question. Should I be putting my money into this metal, and particularly into this gold coin? So we're going to look now specifically at some of the characteristics and what this gold coin buying this gold coin sort of entails. All right. The first aspect about this gold coin is that it weighs 1 troy ounce. Now, if you're like me, I had to Google how big a troy ounce is, and comes up to just under 34 grams. So it's 34 grams of gold, and has a purity level of 22 carats. So that's 91% of that gold coin is pure gold. So I guess that's what they mean by 22 carats. Now, interesting enough, when you look at the price of gold, you'll find that buying this single coin could set you back over 1,800 United States dollars. Now, if you look at the average income of someone in Zimbabwe, they're not earning $1,800. So this is really a product that is probably meant for your corporate clients or very high net worth individuals who have that kind of money at their disposal to just invest in one coin. So off the bat, you know that the majority of Zimbabweans may not be able to invest in this. And so the benefits that they offer you are really more institutional stuff, like liquid asset status. You could potentially use it as collateral. The other stuff is nonsense for the average retail investor, because you don't use these things. These are things that you cannot go and say, hey, I got a gold coin that has liquid asset status. Let's do some business. And when you want to sell this, you in essence are selling it back to the central bank, which is the issuer of the gold coin. So they have appointed agents all over the place, and those agents will sell the coins. But in essence, the person you are buying it from and you're selling it from is really the central bank. And they've allowed people to buy it in the local currencies and in United States dollars. And the thinking right now, or the claim, is that you are able to redeem or get your money back in whatever currency you can. You have the choice of, if you bought in Zimbabwean dollars, you can get your money back in US dollars. And I believe a lot of Zimbabweans who are going to put their money into this may be thinking, oh, this is a great way for me to put in my Zimbabwean dollars and get them back, hopefully at the interbank rate, which is significantly lower than the parallel market rate, or what other people call their real rate. So some people are looking at this as an arbitrage opportunity. But before you start licking your chops and start thinking, hey, I've spotted a gap, you need to know a couple of things. The first thing is to sort of curb speculative buying and selling. The Reserve Bank and I believe the government have put in a minimum 6-month holding period. So which means you have to hold this coin for 180 days at least before you can sell it back to the Reserve Bank or start trading it. And their reason for adding this 60-day waiting period is to encourage savings. So they also want this to be on people's assets that are put aside for savings. So if you thought you're just going to buy this and immediately put your Zim dollars and then get your US dollars out, you may have to wait at least 6 months. And 6 months in Zimbabwe can be a very long time, and a lot of things can happen. The second thing is you also need to be mindful of the costs. Now, it shall be sold at the prevailing international price of gold, according to the London Bullion Market Association, LBMA, PM fixing price. So fairly standard. It's a benchmark measure of the market. But you're going to be buying it at a premium. So it's going to be that price plus 5% to cover what the Reserve Bank calls the cost of production and distribution of the coin. So off the bat, you're paying a 5% cost just to own this. And when you sell it, for you to break even, that means the price of gold in real terms must have or should increase by more than 5% just for you to break even. Wow. Right? So, yeah, this is one of those things where getting a positive return is just been made a bit harder with this additional 5% cost. And this is barring any other transaction cost that your bank may charge you both at the point of buying and selling. And just like your car, this coin is going to come with a registration book, or they call it a bearer certificate that has what they call security features. So that means that to trade this, you need to provide proof of ownership when you are transacting this. So hopefully if someone steals your coin but they don't have the bearer certificate, they can't really do much with it. But hey, ever heard of melting? I didn't say I was going to do it. Just throwing it out there. But just note that this is something that you're going to have to carry around a bearer certificate. And remember, this is as of last couple of weeks, about potentially $1,800 worth of a coin. So this is not something you walk into your grocery store to buy groceries with, or to buy bread with. So it's not. It's almost like it's got that illiquidity of a house. Right? So if you wanted to buy bread and all you owned is a house, you can't start taking off bricks to sell off, so you can have money for bread. So just think about that this is really not that easy to trade, and really is an asset that you are holding onto as just portfolio diversification, I guess. So apparently they're setting up international partners. We're going to hear about that. We'll pick up on that as it goes. Now, how has it performed so far? Well, as expected, people do not want anything that has a Zim dollar value attached to it. There is a strong negative bias towards the Zimbabwean dollars because, one, in Zimbabwe, inflation has been ravaging. So people are keen to get out of Zimbabwean dollar investments. So you'll see that if people want to change this, when they get their salaries, they want to quickly get into the US dollar. So this means if they had stock market investments on the Zimbabwe Stock Exchange, they're selling those so that they, in hope that they can move their money to United States dollars. So clearly gold's reputation as a store of value is really helping attract more and more people to this particular platform. The only question I have is, are all gold coins created equally? I like to think not quite, but anyway, you can make that decision for yourself. So if you're going to buy this, know that one thing about gold is that gold produces no income. It is a commodity, right? So when you buy this, you are hoping that its price is going to go up significantly more. And in this case, it's going to have to go up higher than the price you bought it at, definitely, plus the 5% cost that our good regulators add into it as a cost of production. So the only time you make money from gold is if you are able to sell it at a higher price than you bought it at. So you can almost look at it as you would be speculative. And yes, the price of gold does increase from time to time, especially when people are very pessimistic about what's going on out there. But the hard bit with gold is that the moment things begin to seem like they're getting better, it tends, without exception, to have a price crash. So it's one of those investments that you need to keep your eye on the price, because you could end up losing a lot more money than you thought you would. The upside is that it does help in fighting inflation to some degree. So you can take some comfort in that. Now let's talk about it from an investment perspective. So what do I think about it? Not even looking at it as just the Zimbabwean case, but just looking at gold as an investment. Now, I would personally not be too keen, especially if you're not thinking of retiring or your aim is to grow your wealth. This may not be the way to go about it. You may want to start looking at investments that increase in purchasing power, not that maintain. Remember, gold at best maintains your purchasing power. If you could buy a jacket today, like the one I'm wearing today, probably you're going to buy that same jacket in 5, 10, or whenever you decide to sell your gold coin. And that's not what you wanted to do. Most of us are wanting to grow our wealth and leave something or create a legacy. So you want assets that are going to help you increase your purchasing power. So they not only beat inflation, but they also create a capacity to buy more things than you could before. And what are some of those assets? That's the next conversation we'll be having. So listen up as I share some alternative investment ideas that are available all around us, and more particularly for those of you who are in Zimbabwe and earn in Zimbabwean dollars, or find yourselves with Zimbabwean dollars and trying to figure out how can I get the most and best return on my money so that I can move forward in my wealth creation journey. That's all for today. My name is Terrence. You know this. When we know better, we all do better, and collectively, everything gets better. I hope you're now educated.